We will begin seated in a comfortable position so that we can get tuned into our bodies this morning for our morning cup of flow. Find a straight, aligned, and yet relaxed spine. Take a huge inhale through the nose. Big sigh through the mouth. Close your eyes. Settle in, tune in, notice how your body's doing. Start breathing a little deeper and slower. Always, Ujjayi breath is the preferable breath for our vinyasa practice. So it's good to get it established in your seated position. Start noticing your thoughts, your emotions, what your energy feels like this morning, and how connected and tuned in you feel to yourself and everything around you. And then bring your palms together in front of your heart and set your personal intention for your practice. And when you're very clear about your intention, take a big inhale. One more time, exhale through the mouth. All nose breathing from here on out. So relax your arms, roll your shoulders back a couple of times. And then just come to standing at the front of your mat. So we'll find a nice solid Tadasana, mountain pose, spine aligned, everything beautifully vertically stacked over the ankles. Just take a moment really feeling rooted. And then kind of let the muscles hug in towards the bone. And then pay particular attention to engaging your core. So there's a slight difference between engagement and tension. So we don't want to clench and really tighten, like the whole tension in the core, but we do want it to engage. So again, I like the idea of all the muscles just kind of hugging in and embracing the spine. So just take a moment to kind of get that going. And then we're going to try and maintain that through our practice today. You're going to want that. So let's bring palms together in front of the heart. Take a big inhale, reach the arms up. Lift your chest, lift your gaze if that feels okay. Let's hold this for a couple of breaths. And on your next exhale, you're going to bend your knees, drape forward, and hang for a few breaths in ragdoll. Go ahead and place fingertips on the ground. Look up halfway and lengthen your spine. And then sink back down. We're going to step back with the left foot this morning. So we have a right foot forward lunge. Just take a couple of breaths. We'll wake up the legs a little bit. Keep that left hand planted. Take your right hand up towards the ceiling. And we're going to pause here for a few breaths. So I want you to really tune into a couple of different things here. Really lengthened spine. So no hunching or rounding. Very stable left shoulder. Very strong right shoulder. Good. Go ahead and bring your right hand down, drop the left knee. Let's say hello to our right hamstring by just drifting the hips back to fully extend the right leg. Flex the ankle and toes. Couple of breaths here. We want to make sure our whole body is with us this morning. Bring that right foot back down, bend the knee. Let's take the arms up and overhead. Tilt your pelvis back, lift your chest, sink those hips forward. And then go ahead and bring your palms together in front of your heart. We're going to do a little prayer twist. Take your left elbow outside the right knee or thigh. Now, I just had you pay attention to a strong left shoulder, so I want you to do the same thing here. If you're hanging out on your left shoulder, please don't push into your palms. Lift up away so that prayer hands are more towards the center of the chest rather than the right armpit. So once you kind of activate that, you should feel some strength in your left shoulder. I want you to still maintain length in your spine and find that nice twisting sensation. Good. We're going to take the hands to the ground and step back to plank. Hold your plank for a couple of breaths here. And I want you to come back into awareness of all the muscles in the midsection hugging in towards your spine. So a hug is a nice gentle embrace. It's not a squeezing, clenching, gripping. It's just a nice little activation. Go ahead and lower down on your next exhale, however you like. And then come into either cobra or upward facing dog. Notice strength in the shoulders. Keep the shoulders down and back. Take one more breath. And then your first downward facing dog. Really press your tailbone up and back. Of course, you can pedal the feet a little bit if you need to. And then find some length. So first downward facing dog, we're really trying to create space in the spine. Even here, gentle engagement of the core. So it never gets soggy or slack or soft. Take a big step forward with your left foot. Hold your lunge for a moment. And then let's just keep this right hand planted. And we're going to take the left hand up towards the ceiling. Same things to pay attention to here. A very strong right shoulder, a very lengthened spine, a very engaged and strong left shoulder. And then go ahead and bring your left hand down, drop your right knee. We're going to extend the left leg, flex the ankle and toes, pull the chest forward. And then go ahead and bend your left knee. Let the arms come up and overhead. Tuck that tailbone under for a posterior tilt of the pelvis. Let the hips move forward. Take a couple breaths here. And then we'll bring the palms together and move into that prayer twist to the left. Right elbows outside the left knee or thigh. Remember, you're not sinking into your right shoulder. You're trying to lift up and away. So you're actually trying to get your torso away from the left thigh in this variation. There are other variations of twists, but today we're really activating the shoulders. Try and get prayer hands in the center of the chest. And then let your hands come down to the mat and step forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. Stretch, exhale, palms together in front of the heart, core feels engaged. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. This time stepping back with your right foot. Nice, deep lunge. Again, we're going to plant the right hand. Make sure the spine is straight. Take the left hand to the ceiling. Notice if you're already starting to feel a little warmer, a little stronger. Take the left hand down outside the left foot, gaze forward, and begin to straighten your left leg. Slightly deeper hamstring stretch. Bend your left knee, bring the arms up and overhead, sink your hips. If you need to, you can drop that back knee, the right knee. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and do a prayer twist from here, palms together, twist to your left. Look up over that left shoulder. Keep those shoulders active and strong. Hands to the mat, step back to plank. Hold your plank. If you do chaturanga or a variation of chaturanga and you're game for it, we're going to hold that for a 3 count. So on an exhale, whether your knees are on or off the floor, you're going to drop down, elbows by sides, and hold 2, 3, and then come into an upward facing dog or cobra. Shoulders are strong. Exhale, downward facing dog. Just being really mindful of your core, your midsection, which, by the way, your core is comprised of the abdominal muscles on the front side of your torso, your oblique muscles on the sides of your torso, and all the low back muscles on the back side of your torso. It's a 360-degree cylindrical area that stabilizes your spine. Right foot forward. And again, we're going to keep left hand down, strong shoulder, straight spine. Right hand towards the ceiling. Right hand comes down, gaze forward. Begin to straighten your right leg. Bend the right knee, bring the arms up and overhead. Sink your hips. And then again, prayer twist, palms together, left elbow outside the right knee or thigh, and then we press into our palms. We're activating the shoulders to come into our prayer twist. Hands come down, step forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Interlace your fingers. Extend your index fingers straight up. Now, pause for a moment and feel your spine. I want you to engage your core again. So you don't want to be arched right now. I want you to get really vertical, straight. Try and maintain that nice aligned spine, and on your next exhale, simply lean to the right. So what happens a lot of times is people throw their hips forward or they kind of twist and rotate. I want you to really try and make it a lateral movement this morning. It might mean that you don't go as far. That's okay. I want you to really feel the left side of your torso stretching. Inhale and come back up. Reset the spine. If you need to, exhale, lean to your left. So again, you want this to be as lateral as possible. You don't want to arch the back. You don't want to round the back. You don't want to rotate. You're just leaning sideways. On your next inhale, come back up. Exhale, palms together in front of your heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. So we're gonna step back with our left foot. Nice big step back. Plant the left hand, but here's what I'd like you to do. We will be taking the right hand up. This is gonna feel a little weird. We're going to be doing variations on side plank for this morning. Those of you that have wrist issues, you can do all of these moves from your forearm if you need to. But I'd like you to take your right foot back about halfway. That's going to seem weird. It's going to seem like you couldn't quite get your foot where you needed it to be. But trust me, I want you to leave it there, because from here you're going to roll onto the outside edge of your left foot. Flex your left ankle and let your left leg be strong. Take your right hand towards the ceiling and kind of lift the hips. This prepares you to really feel the activation in the bottom leg in side plank. So sometimes in class, I would see people collapsing that ankle, the bottom ankle, in this case, the left one. You don't want to do that. Your ankle is flexed. Really, the outer edge of the foot is the only thing on the ground. Awesome job. Go ahead and step straight back. Downward facing dog. Stretch it back, lengthen. We're going to do the same side from here. So here's what I'd like you to do. Step your right foot forward halfway. Roll onto the outside edge of your left foot. Keep the ankle flexed, right hand towards the ceiling. You have to be very mindful of your body. Good. From here, bring the right hand down, step back to plank. As you exhale, lower down, control your core. Don't let the hips sink. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog with very active shoulders. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen in your down dog. And you can either walk or jump forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, palms together. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Look up halfway. And then back down. This time we're stepping back with the right leg. Hold your lunge for a moment. And again, this is going to seem a little weird, but we're doing it twice on the side. I want you to get really used to activating that bottom leg and the ankle. So from here, step your left foot back a little bit, about halfway. Roll into the outside edge of your right foot, flex the ankle. Take your left hand to the ceiling. Lift your hips. Make sure your right ankle is really active. You're flexed. So you don't want any of the right leg on the ground, only the outside edge of your right foot. Sorry, right foot. Step straight to downward facing dog. Stretch. And then we're going to do it again from here. Step your left foot halfway forward. Roll under the outside edge of the right foot. Take that left hand to the ceiling. So you're activating your right shoulder here. You're really activating that right leg. Bring your left hand down, step back to plank, flow through your vinyasa. In your down dog, lengthen for a moment. Pause, stretch it out.
Good. Now, from here, we're going to go into our second variation of a side plank. This one is also with a kickstand, but now it's the bottom leg rather than the top. So what I'd like you to do from this down dog is take your left leg underneath you. I want you to have your left ankle flexed. So still we're keeping ankles active. Then your right heel is going to spin inward or to the left, and you'll take your right hand to the ceiling. Push that right hip up towards the ceiling. Hold this for a breath. So the balance is still here, but you're taking more weight onto your left arm, left wrist. Remember, you can do this from your forearm if you need to. All right, good. Go straight back, downward facing dog. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Take your right leg underneath you, but the leg is straight. You're flexing your ankle. Now your left heel spins inward, so it's flat. Take your left hand up, lift the hips. Take one more breath here. Left hand down, downward facing dog. You may either walk or jump forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. All right, so you can kind of see where we're going to be heading, but you've been activating your core, and you want to really pay attention to the legs. So we're going to play with this a little bit. Bring your palms together. Take a big inhale. Reach the arms up and stretch. And then exhale and fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. And then exhale back down. So from here, I'd like you to go ahead and just step back to plank. Take a moment and feel your plank. And make sure you're totally aligned here. We're going to roll from here first, keeping feet together so the way they are right now, if your toes turned under, this is how they should be in a side plank. Just see what it feels like in your body to roll onto the outside edge of your left foot. You don't even have to take the right hand up yet. Good. Come back onto your toes. Roll to the right. My left foot is on top of my right. My right leg is straight. My ankle is flexed. Good. Come back into your plank. Press into down dog, don't adjust your feet, right? Go back into your plank, body in a perfectly straight line. Press back to down dog, don't change where your feet are. Now we're going for real. I want you to roll to your left. You're gonna roll the feet, just like we did a moment ago. Legs are really strong and active, core is really strong and active. See if you can take your right hand up towards the ceiling and lift that right hip and breathe. And if you're feeling strong, gaze at your right thumb. Right hand back down, simply roll back into your down dog. Double check, plank. Downward facing dog without moving the feet. Roll to your right this time. Just keep those feet together, ankles flexed. If you can, you take the left hand up. If you can, you gaze at your left hand and you lift that left hip towards the ceiling. Don't forget to breathe. Good, left hand down, drop to your knees. You've earned a child's pose. Take a breath or two. And then go ahead and transition back into plank. Lower down on your exhale. Pay attention to your core. Inhale into upward facing dog and exhale. Downward facing dog. Stretch it back. Good. From here, take your right foot forward. Spin your left heel flat. Come up into warrior two. Take a moment, make sure you're aligned. Take your left hand to your left thigh, right arm up and over. Reverse your warrior.
Stretch out those sides. So your oblique muscles, you've got two sets, internal and external obliques. They kind of run diagonally around the sides of the waist. That's what you've been using here. Come back up. Straighten your right leg, lengthen your torso out, find your triangle. Make sure right side of the spine is just as long as the left side. And then from your triangle pose, just bend your right knee, slide your right hand onto the floor, and take it right into half moon. Take your left leg back down, warrior two. And then take the hands to the mat and flow through a vinyasa. Make sure you're keeping your core tight, active, engaged. From your down dog, step your left foot forward, right foot flat, warrior two. Right hand to right thigh, left arm up and over. Stretching out the left side of your torso. Stretching out those obliques. We're not quite done with them, but almost. Come all the way back up. Straighten your left leg. Lengthen out to the left. Triangle pose, Trikonasana. Left side of the spine should be nice and long. And then from here, we're just gonna bend the left knee, plant the left hand. Take that right arm and right leg up towards the ceiling for half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Right foot goes back down, warrior two. And then we take the hands to the mat and flow through our vinyasa. Now, from this downward facing dog, really lengthen your spine. Remember, if you need to modify and do from your forearms, this will be our final challenge. Shift into plank, make sure that your body is exactly where it needs to be for Vasisthasana, which is what side plank is called. It's named after the sage Vasistha. So, move back into your downward facing dog. You're gonna roll onto the outside edge of your left foot. If you can, you're gonna take your right hand to the ceiling. If you can, you're gonna raise your right leg in the air. Bring it all back down, downward facing dog. Shift back into plank, make sure you're in the right spot. Back into your down dog, and then we go to the other side. Roll to the outside edge of your right foot, stack the feet if you can, if possible. Take that left hand up towards the ceiling. And then we raise the left leg. Nice job, you guys. Bring it back down, downward facing dog. Take your final vinyasa. Inhaling into plank, exhaling to lower. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Stretch. Really lengthen in your down dog. And then drop to your knees. Take your backside to your heels, but leave your arms extended. So extended child's pose. Forehead down, take a breath. And then keeping your arms out in front of you, we're gonna keep the navel between the thighs. In other words, I don't want you to rotate from your hips.
This is kind of a small move. We're gonna take both arms a little bit to the right. Push the left rib cage to the left. You're gonna feel the left side of your torso stretch. Take a couple of deep breaths here. Think of each deep inhale as a thank you to your strong oblique muscles. And then you can just walk your hands a little bit over to the left. Poke that right rib cage out to the right. 3 deep breaths on this side. Good. Come on up from that. And then we're actually going to do a move that is attributed to Anna Forrest. She's an American yoga teacher. Don't worry, it's not the abs. She calls this lounge lizard. It's a lovely stretch for the obliques if you can allow your rib cage to relax. And again, if you have wrist issues, you could do this on your forearm, but with your forearm on a block. So roll onto your left side. Kind of act like you're just reclining, like watching TV or something, right? So we're going to be on our left hip. Legs are together. Left arm is totally straight. What our bodies normally try to do is come away from the left arm, pushing into that left hand, right? I want you to do the opposite. It's the one time, or maybe the one of 2 times, I'll allow you to actually sink into your shoulder. So I want you to almost hunch, let this left shoulder come up by your left ear. You're letting your torso hang, and you're letting your left rib cage relax and move towards your left upper arm. If you do that, you should feel some really deep stretching on the left side of your torso. And just like we did in our child's pose variation, I'd like you to take 3 deep breaths here. And then we'll just switch sides. So just kind of roll over onto that right side. Right hand is firmly planted. Legs are straight. We don't want to push away from the right upper arm. We want to let the right shoulder really move up towards the right ear. We're literally sinking into that right shoulder joint. Right arm stays straight. Right rib cage relaxes and almost pushes towards the right upper arm. And then you should get just a really big stretch sensation when we take 3 breaths. As you finish those 3 breaths out, just find your way to an easy cross-legged seated position. One more deep side stretch. This one will feel a little different. And I'll just, this morning I will mirror you guys. Oh my gosh. It's a momentous occasion. You're gonna put your right hand on the ground, slide it out as far to the right as you can without letting your left hip lift. So like if you kept going and your bun comes up, that's too far. You wanna keep that left hip really grounded while you reach out through the right arm. And then continuing to push your left hip into the mat, reach the left arm up and over. Now look up at it. If your elbow is bent, straighten it, really straight. Reach through the fingertips, then begin to reach over your head. Keep pushing your left hip into the ground, and if you feel like you can, your bottom elbow can bend. So that right elbow can bend a little bit, but don't bend the top one. Keep reaching through a straight arm, and you'll feel that stretch again on the side of your torso. Breathe into it. Beautiful. Come on up and we'll just switch sides. Left hand finds the ground, it slides out, but we keep our right glute really planted. In fact, we push it into the floor as we reach the right arm up and over, and we make sure our right arm is not bent, it's straight, very straight. Then we bend the bottom arm, the left arm, and get that nice deep side stretch. Come on up from that. Roll your shoulders back. Because you've done a lot of shoulder stability here today, right? You've been using your shoulders to stabilize your torso. In fact, before we move on, let's just give them one more good yummy release. Let your arms hang by your sides. Inhale, squeeze your shoulders up by your ears, and then exhale, drop them. Good. Extend your legs straight out in front of you. Make sure you're on your sit bones. And just take a moment and then lean out over both legs. Just stretch a little bit. And then come on up from that and we'll prepare to roll onto the ground. Let's go ahead and roll onto our backs. Hug the knees in, rock side to side. All the hard stuff is over. So we started with doing some prayer twists in our warm-up, right? So the twists are also an oblique action, right? Those are the muscles that help us rotate. They kind of run diagonally in our core. So we're gonna let them rotate, except now these will have a whole lot less effort than the ones kneeling did. So we'll start nice and gentle, knees together. Just drop them over to the right. Let your left arm open out to the left. Take a couple breaths. We're gonna twist deeper in a moment. But we kind of wanna just let things lengthen. Play with your breath for a moment. And really see if you can move it all the way down into the left side of the waist. You can even put your right hand on the left side of your waist if you want. See if you can feel your breath moving that far down. On your next inhale, let the knees come up, and as you exhale, drop them over to the left. Let your right arm open up to the right. And so same thing here. We want to really just kind of be gentle and use our breath to begin with. If you want, you're welcome to put your left hand at the right side of the waist. I want you to try and breathe so deep that you feel a tissue change at the right side of the waist. On your next inhale, bring the knees back up. Give them a good hug and side to side rock. Before we do our final deep twist, we're gonna go ahead and do our inversion. Now this is different for everybody. I realize some of you guys have neck and shoulder issues, so you're gonna need to do bridge or even supported bridge. Absolutely fine. Honor your body. If you are able to do plow, which is with the legs up and overhead, we're gonna play with Parsvahalasana, which is side plow, and get a little bit more oblique action. So it's completely up to you, but if you're able, we'll go ahead and take the legs up and overhead. So if the feet don't touch the floor behind your head, keep your hands on your hips. In fact, this morning, keep your hands on your hips anyway. So whether your feet touch the floor or not, you're gonna move both legs a little bit to the right, and then see if you can bend your knees as though you're gonna put your left knee on your right ear. Extend the legs back out, walk them to the left, bend the knees, and see if you can get right knee to left here. Extend the legs out, take them back to the center. Take a couple more breaths. And then regardless of what inversion you're in, go ahead and roll yourself back down. Hug the knees in and rock side to side. We're going to keep the right knee hugged in, extend the left leg all the way out onto the ground. Just hold that for a moment.
And then to get the deepest twist here, if you can, and please modify if you need to get the deepest twist here, you'll hook the toes of your right foot on the inside or back side of your left thigh. Your right arm is going to open out. I want you to keep your spine really long, but use your left hand outside that right near thigh and pull yourself over into a nice deep twist. Let your head turn to the right. And again, start to use your breath. You're going to be here for a little bit longer, so let's start sending the breath from the right front shoulder all the way down through the right side of the waist and into the right hip. Slow, deep breaths, being very mindful of breathing in past the point that you would normally stop. On your next inhale, come on up. As you exhale, hug your right knee in. Bring your left knee up to meet it. You may rock side to side. And then keep your left knee hugged in and extend your right leg out. Hold this for a moment. And then to get the deepest twist, if you can, hook the toes of your left foot inside or behind your right thigh. Twist yourself over using your right hand, opening that left arm out, palm up to the left, letting your head turn to the left if that works for you. Keeping your spine long and straight, and then beginning to breathe into front of the left shoulder, left rib cage, left side of the waist, left hip. Really deep breaths here. On your next inhale, come on back up. Hug your left knee in. And then bring your right knee up to meet it. Rock side to side. Go ahead and grab the outside edges of your feet. Wiggle around a little bit and happy baby. Just anything that feels good to you. So your hips were actually activated, holding them up, right? In side plank. And they got some good opening in your warrior two and triangle and half moon. So just explore how your hips are feeling. You might be surprised that by focusing on the core and the sides of the waist, the hips also get to open. Once you feel like you're done, place your feet flat on the mat with your ankles and knees together. And as you exhale, just let your knees drop in one direction. Inhale, bring them back up. And as you exhale, drop them the opposite direction. And just keep moving in time to your breath. Inhaling the legs up and exhaling them to one side. And then inhaling them back up and exhaling them the opposite direction. A couple more times on each side. When you feel like you're ready, when you feel like you're even, keep the feet together, but let your knees drop open in opposite directions. The soles of your feet will touch. Just take a moment, pause here. And let's do a final spinal lengthener. We're going to inhale and tilt the pelvis back.
So we're pressing the low back into the mat. It's kind of like you're allowing your pubic bone to scoop upwards, keeping the knees open. It's a pretty easy move, but it's very effective for lengthening the back. So take a couple more breaths. Now on your next exhale, you can release that, begin to extend your legs, begin to separate the feet. Allow the hands to be below the height of the shoulders. The palms are facing upward. Just double check your body. No tension anywhere, right? Your glutes are soft. Your legs are totally relaxed. Your spine feels long. Your shoulders are nowhere near the ears. Your jaw is relaxed. The eyes are closed. Your forehead is smooth. Everything feels good. Not even tension in the hands. The fingers lightly curl. Take a huge inhale through your nose. Big sigh through the mouth. And just kind of let your body settle in to this nice supine position, this on your back position. Your body is used to doing Shavasana, so just kind of give it free rein. It knows what to do. It knows how to relax here. Just let it do that. And then once you kind of feel like your body is relaxed, I'd like you to bring your attention to your navel, your belly button. And I want you to imagine that right there in your navel, it's kind of like a candle flame. So if you've ever watched a candle burn, when you first light it, everything is solid. But the longer that little flame burns, the more the wax melts. And so it starts as a very small little circle of melted wax around the base of the wick. But the longer the candle burns, the more fluid it becomes, the larger that pool of melted wax becomes. That's the image I'd like you to hold at your core. So every time you breathe, from your navel outward, things soften and become fluid. In other words, the whole stomach region, the abdominal region, the place where we're often told to tighten it, like I asked you to do today in class, or to hold it in, suck our guts in, try and have a flat stomach, blah, blah, blah. Right now, totally let that go. I want your stomach to be soft, fluid, melty. Notice that with every breath, you can feel that warm, fluid sensation spreading. It grows larger. So at the very center of your being, at your core, it's warm, it's fluid, it's soft, all of those really comforting sensations that you can think of. This softening and melting around the navel can be a nice reminder to soften our attitudes and our beliefs and our thoughts, to not be so rigid about what we think is good or bad or appropriate or inappropriate, but rather to soften, perhaps soften towards ourselves, soften towards other people.
Recognize that everybody's doing the best they can. And whether that measures up to your standards for yourself is unimportant. Everyone's doing the best they can. So allowing ourselves to soften into our midsection, soften into the area that determines who we are. It allows us to soften outward towards others. Notice if that feels true for you right now. And then you can just start to feel into the rest of your body, maybe allowing that sensation of soft fluidity to spread all the way out before you begin to deepen your breath. And then you can deepen your breath. Then you can begin to move the fingers and toes and just start easing and breathing back into your body. Take an extra deep breath in, spread the fingers and toes. Exhale through your mouth as you relax your fingers and toes, and then breathe in even deeper and stretch. Lengthen, exhale, and relax. Bend your knees, feel free to hug them in if that's good for you. And then go ahead and roll to your right side. And then from there, press yourself up into sitting. So when you find your seated position, just pause for a moment, check in. How's your body? How's your mind? How's your heart? How's your energy and your connection? Just kind of notice. So for our breath work today, our pranayama, we're going to do a couple of Kapalabhati breathing. That's that forceful pumping of the abdomen. This is an early morning practice, so this is great to get you set for your day. It's also the beginning of the week, so it's great to get you set for your week. It's a very energizing breath, and it's also a really nice way to finish out a core-centered practice, since it really involves the core. It is absolutely critical in order to do this breath properly that the front of your torso is lengthened. So if you have tight hips and you're sitting with your back rounded and your knees are way up and your abdomen is already contracted, you simply cannot do Kapalabhati. So if you need to move to a chair or put your buns on a bolster or a blanket, please do so. Lift through your sternum and find length in your abdomen. That allows you to contract so that you can press the air out. So just a reminder, this is all through the nose. It's a forceful contraction of the abdomen to press the air out. When you relax the abdominal muscles, the air automatically comes in. So it's a very passive inhale. You may do this as fast or slow as you like. If you're new to the breath, please take your time with it. If you've been doing it for a long time, amp it up so that you're doing about an inhale and an exhale per second. This morning, we're going to be doing 2 rounds. In between the rounds, I'll have you inhale, bring the arms overhead, spread the fingers, hold your breath, and then exhale back down to start round 2. We'll also do that at the end of the second round. All right, that's plenty of talking. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Take a full exhale through your nose. Take another deep breath in. Breathe out half of your air and begin. Big inhale. Spread the fingers, hold the breath. Exhale, float the arms back down. Deep breath in through the nose. Exhale, half your air out, begin round 2. Big inhale, arms up. Spread the fingers, hold. Exhale, float your arms down. Just take a moment and check in. If you are warmer, as in if your body temperature went up, that's an indication that your Kapalabhati went well. If your core feels tired or fatigued, also an indication that your Kapalabhati went well. If your stomach is gurgling or making noise, good indication that your Kapalabhati went well. If you feel more awake right now, more alert, more astute and tuned in, well done. So just take a moment, bringing palms together in front of the heart. Let's be grateful for this practice. I, for one, am exceptionally grateful for my teachers and for that long, long lineage of tradition that has come down through thousands and thousands of years so that I could practice and have been fortunate enough to be able to share it with some of you. There's a lot to be grateful for in these bodies. So for every one body part that we might complain about or notice being less than optimal, there are multitudes of others that are functioning beautifully, just doing their thing perfectly so that we can be alive in these bodies right now. We should have some gratitude for that. And then also gratitude for this breath that not only keeps us alive, but keeps bringing us back to the present moment so that we can show up for our lives, so that we can appreciate our lives, so that we can actually live them. Take one more huge deep breath all the way down into your belly. Soft sigh. Palms to the forehead, just reminding us to be present. When we're in the here, in the now, in the moment, we can recognize all the things we have to be grateful for. Bringing our palms to our mouths, it reminds us to speak our truth and also to speak our gratitude. And palms to the heart, reminding us to keep our hearts open. It's really the only way to live. It's the only way that love can flow both ways. Thank you guys so much for being here this morning. Namaste.